Vercel recently claimed that 10% of their new sign-up are coming from ChatGPT. This is enormous, and it proves how important it is to have a generative engine optimization strategy, to have a strategy dedicated for ChatGPT. As a marketing director, you're probably wondering, what did Vercel do perfectly to rank so well on ChatGPT? And this is exactly what you will learn in this video. I'll share with you a complete GEO audit to understand why Vercel is killing it on ChatGPT. There will be three parts in this video. In the first part, I'll analyze Vercel traffic coming from ChatGPT. Second part, we'll analyze the interesting keywords and the interesting prompts that people are typing on ChatGPT. And finally, I analyze all the sources, all the backlinks that help Vercel to rank so well. This is a complete generative engine optimization audit that you can run and copy for your clients or for your own company. Let's start the video. So before we start, if you're wondering what is Vercel, Vercel is a tool, is an application that helps you develop applications faster and build them and publish them on the web. Have a look at their website if you want to look at it. It's very well known by developers, obviously, and we at Query, we are actually using Vercel. And by the way, if you don't know who I am, I'm Luca, I'm the founder of Query. We are a software as a service that helps you rank better on LLM, on ChatGPT. You can track your brand mentions and you can improve your presence on LLM. I'll use the tool anyway to do the audit, so you will see a little more about this. Anyway, the reason why we decided to do this video is because we saw this post at first where basically one of the founder of Query, this is not the original post, but anyway, basically he claimed that ChatGPT refers 10% of new Vercel signups. 10% is enormous because Vercel is a big company, so that means a lot of sign up, and particularly is saying that it's growing fast. It was 1% of our sign up 6 months ago, and now it's 4.8%. And in March, and after that there's another post, it's 10%. So there's actually a content, I'll publish it, I'll put it in the comments. It's a very good article from Vercel talking about how we are adapting SEO for LLMs and AI search. Very interesting. There's a lot of things to learn in there, but basically what we will do in this video, as promised, is a complete audit. So the first part of this video, the first thing I want to look at is looking at the traffic that Vercel is driving from ChatGPT. And actually, this is something people generally get wrong. You know, I hear a lot of people I see on LinkedIn or whatever, they're saying, yeah, ChatGPT is not so big on traffic and everything. It's normal. The goal of ChatGPT is not like Google. It's not bringing traffic to your website. ChatGPT sometimes is giving the response. What is important in ChatGPT? It's not the traffic you get from ChatGPT. It's if your brand is mentioned. And Vercel is very present on ChatGPT, is mentioned a lot, and this is why they are growing so fast. But still, let's look at the traffic. I'm using SimilarWeb for this, and basically we can see that ChatGPT represents 10.66% of the referral traffic, and the referral traffic of Vercel is 10% in total. So that means that ChatGPT is 10% of 10%. It's not a lot of traffic, you see, but still it's a lot of sign up. It means that basically ChatGPT is maybe bringing 1-2% of the total traffic of Vercel, but ChatGPT is bringing 10% of sign up. So this is very important. People today, they are using ChatGPT to help them make a decision. Basically, they are hesitating. I don't know which tool to use, whatever. And ChatGPT, if you are present as a brand there, it will help you a lot to grow your sign up. Just in terms of number, in terms of LLM traffic, we checked with SimilarWeb, it's 100,750 visits in terms of LLM. 1.70% of the total visitors from Vercel are coming from ChatGPT. So from this part, I decided to analyze different things. And this is the second part that is coming from this video. We will now analyze in which keyword the brand Vercel is present. I will use Query to show you that. And then in the last part, I will use the different sources. We will analyze the different backlinks that you need to get. And then you can basically copy this and use it for your own company. Let's go. The question I get asked the most in general by our client is which keywords are people typing on ChatGPT? And today we have to be very honest and very bullish about this. We don't have a lot of information. We don't have Google Search Console. We don't have any of those tools that we used to have in traditional search engine optimization. And this is why actually we created query. So basically to know the keywords that people type on LLMs, ChatGPT, or whatever, we have a very easy way to do it. You add your URL here, and basically after that, we generate the competitors and we generate some keywords that are important. And from this keyword, we generate conversational queries. What are conversational queries? Basically, it's simply queries that people are typing potentially in LLM, in ChatGPT. We have some kind of personal algorithm that we developed on our side, and we rank these different queries between top of funnel, middle funnel, and bottom funnel. Bottom funnel means people are very close to buying something. Top of funnel, it's questions that are more broad and more global. So I did this for Vercel, and I'll show you now the different results that we get. So in the case of Vercel, I choose 4 different keywords from which I created the queries, the different queries. These 4 keywords are front-end deployment platform, React application hosting, Next.js framework, and cloud hosting for developer. You will see, I will explain a little bit where Vercel is very strong and where there is improvement and they can work on that. And basically what you get when you get to query is this dashboard of performance. You just click here, and what you see is like the global brand mention visibility. They are at 62%, which is quite a good score. Source citation, it's when your content is used as a source, because when you talk about being present on LLM, being present on ChatGPT, there are 2 main criteria. There is being present as a brand, basically ChatGPT, when someone asks a question, is mentioning your brand. And the second thing is being mentioned as a source, which is basically ChatGPT puts the link of your website directly in there. So basically, I generated a lot of questions. I will show you here the different questions that I generated. So basically, here we go to queries. I asked 39 questions. We could do more. In general, with our client, we advise at least 100 questions, but here I wanted to be very synthetic and I chose only a couple topics, So basically, type of question I asked was, what are the best cloud hosting solutions for developers? Which front-end deployment platform offers the best support for React application? And I could also, see only around React application hosting, which question I asked. So I asked, for example, what are the top providers for React application hosting? If you don't know, React is just some coding language. It's not exactly a coding language, but I'm not a specialist for that. We don't need to be specialists for this. So basically, here's what basically we learn. And we could also see here if my brand is mentioned, for example. So I'm just loading everything where my brand is mentioned. So you see what are the top providers for React application hosting. I'll talk a little more about this. We can see that we rank 1.7. So that means that really we are mentioned a lot. And I can also see needs your brand as competitor. All the questions where I'm not mentioned. And in this case, for example, what are the best practices for optimizing a React application hosted on cloud platform? We are not mentioned. Let's get back to the performance dashboard. So the first thing we can see here is the competitor performance. What we see is that Vercel, around the topic that we asked, is the most mentioned. The second is the competitor, Netlify. And we can also see this by keywords. For example, if I go React application hosting, we can see that Vercel is the most mentioned again. Next.js framework, Vercel is not exactly a Next.js framework. We are not the most mentioned, but still we are mentioned a lot. Where there is some improvement is, for example, cloud hosting for developers. Here we see that Vercel is not so present. So maybe there's something to do in there. I'll tell you a little bit more about the strategy that Vercel can use. Then we also see the provider performance. We see that, for example, in AI overview, Vercel is very present with 17 mention, but also in GPT 4.0, and here is the search GPT. We can see that Vercel is present in 52% in the in total score, but actually it's the most mentioned, you see, so it's the best score. They have 26 mentioned for OpenAI, and the first competitor, Netlify, and has only 18 mentions. So now what we want to know is basically why did Vercel so well and where they can improve. So let's start with what they did so well, and then we will see what they can improve. So the first thing I want to show you is all the keywords around React application hosting. So if we look at all the answers in here, we can see that React is very well positioned. So the first thing is, how can I compare pricing plans for different React application hosting? We can see that Vercel is in there. Actually, I did the test. I wrote in ChatGPT, I want to host a React app. What is the best platform? And Vercel comes here all the time. Let's see some other question. Like we want to know why Vercel is so present. Which React application hosting platform is best for rapid deployment? Vercel comes second. We will see a little bit more. How does React application? What are the top provider for React application hosting? Vercel comes here first, second, Anyway, so what we want to know now is in terms of ChatGPT, because that's what they claim. They say that they are ranking so well. So is it true? And actually, it's the case. Which React application hosting service offers the best performance for large-scale application? Vercel comes among the first results. So yeah, that's really where they made a strong presence. And what is really interesting is this question. What are the top providers for React application hosting? Vercel comes first, no surprise. And actually here, that's really interesting. We have the source. So basically, we ask ChatGPT, or we look in ChatGPT, what is the source that he used? And the source is this article from Geeks from 4Geeks. And with no surprise, in 10 best React hosting provider, Vercel comes first. So this is what Vercel did, and they are very strong, is that basically, when we look at the sources, when we look at all the sources that mentioned this company, they come first. And that's where they are, why they are so powerful. If we look at OpenAI here, we can see the different sources. And actually, we see that in all these sources, most of the time, they are mentioned. And that's why they are so much present in ChatGPT. So let's continue analyzing the sources, all the sources that are used by ChatGPT or any other LLM. So basically, you can see that in query here in source. So I just filtered by OpenAI, and you can see that we show all the articles that were used by ChatGPT or any other LLM to make their response, make the answer. And you look, for example, at the first here, dev.to. Dev.to is like Reddit for developer. And basically, they wrote an article, experience and metric evaluation of leading cloud platform. And what we see is that Vercel is mentioned and is the first one that is mentioned here. Same thing. I looked after that. There's another here, Strapi.io, top platform for front-end projects. First one, Vercel. So that's really where Vercel was very strong, is that in all the websites that are important to ChatGPT, all the websites that ChatGPT uses to build his answer, basically Vercel is mentioned first, particularly around the topic of React or Next.js. Actually, if we look at the topic cloud hosting for developers, I think that's where Vercel has a little bit of work. For example, if we look at Tech Radar, best IaaS provider of 2025, and we search for Vercel, here you can see that Vercel is not mentioned. So they are mentioned a lot around the topic of React hosting. React, again, is a language, is a development language. But when you talk about hosting for developers, they are not cloud hosting for developers. They are not mentioned so well. So what I would do is really doing this trying to be present in there for this website, TechRadar, for example, and that's really what I would do. Let's look at dev.to, cloud hosting. Let's see if they are present in there. Vercel, again, they are not present in there. So they are very present around the topic of React app hosting, Next.js hosting, but there is improvement to do for cloud hosting for developers. And actually, the good thing is that for this, for example, we give different recommendation in there. So we say, for example, in backlink opportunities, if you want to rank better on OpenAI, we will say you need to be present on this website, and you can then analyze the website, and we will also do some recommendations. So for example, Vercel is not mentioned, and we advise you to talk to them and try to be present in there. So that's it for the audit of Vercel. We understood that Vercel's presence in ChatGPT is particularly so strong because they did all this partnership probably, or at least they are present in all this website. We will do some other audit, use Query to do the same for your website as a marketing director, and talk soon. Bye-bye.